Capes on the Couch podcast is for entertainment purposes only.
Welcome to P3. 5 picks to create the perfect package. It's time for the Perfect Package podcast. Here are your hosts, Chad and Dave.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and the rest of you. This is P3, the Perfect Package podcast. It's time for another Perfect Package. I am Chad.
And it's your boy, Dave.
And we got a full damn house tonight. Look at this. Joining us tonight, we have the gentleman from Capes on the Couch. Anthony and Doc Issues are here.
Woohoo!
And we're going to geek out like nobody's ever geeked out before.
Yay!
It's good to be back.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Wow.
So I think the whole purpose behind this is our peaceful protest against the Snyder Cut.
Well done. Well done. I appreciate that.
Nice.
Now, for those of us who don't give a shit about DC, could you explain why the Snyder Cut is either A, good, or B, bad? Because again, I am neutral because I don't care.
Okay, when it comes to Justice League and Batman v Superman, the Martha cut, I didn't hate them. I didn't like them, but I didn't hate them. So anything they can do to improve on Justice League, I'm all for. Is it going to be a big steaming pile? More than likely. But Anthony thinks that that's exactly what's going to happen.
It's a Zack Snyder film.
So that's the problem.
Exactly. That's it in a nutshell. It's a Zack Snyder film.
A lot simpler. If you just have a problem with Zack Snyder as opposed to any modifications to canon or the changes to the way that something's presented. But if you just don't like Zack Snyder, that's entirely reasonable.
I don't think it's not like a dislike of Zack Snyder as a person, but it's his style and his storytelling ability. Okay. And I put that in quotation marks because Zack Snyder believes that a story isn't good unless it's gritty and dark and like way more gritty and dark than it actually needs to be. And that's one of the many things I felt was flawed about Man of Steel. That's one of the things that I disliked about the Batman v Superman, Dawn of Martha, and then the Justice League, which now I get what happened with his daughter was a horrible tragedy. And I absolutely understand that he had to walk away, and spend time with his family, etc. But then for Joss Whedon to come in and Whedonize the film, it's like peanut butter and chocolate go well together. Mm-hmm. This is not that.
No, it was peanut butter and toothpaste. That's what it was.
Similar consistencies at a certain level. Just flavors maybe not.
No, this wasn't peanut butter and toothpaste. This is orange juice and toothpaste.
All right, strong feelings then.
They're perfectly fine by themselves, but you put them together, they don't mix. And it was so jarring to go from like the Snyder scenes to the Whedon scenes back to the Snyder scenes. Whatever.
All right, fair enough. I haven't I'm gonna put this out there. I haven't seen enough of the DC movies to form a proper opinion.
Lucky you.
Yeah. And it's I talk shit on the DC universe only because it interests me only enough for me to be disappointed by it. There's pieces there. There are bits and pieces that I really enjoy. There are characters that I really enjoy. And then I look at the wider scope of the thing and I'm like, this is meh. Supremely meh. I would prefer to hate it, honestly. If it drove me to feel something, but it doesn't. It's just like, oh, okay, that's a thing that they did there. I heard about it and I forgot about it immediately. So
now I've not seen Shazam. And from what I understand, that is a solid film. But I have seen the rest of the DCEU, and I do agree largely with your assessment. Wonder Woman notwithstanding. I saw Aquaman. I thought it was enjoyable. Couldn't tell you a goddamn thing that happened in that movie. It was like 2 hours of pretty nothingness. It was like, wow, this is bright and colorful. It's completely not what DC does. And then nothing. I know I saw it in theaters. Couldn't tell you what happened. Harley, Birds of Prey / Harley Quinn. Saw that in theaters. Don't know what the fuck happened there. Suicide Squad. Saw that at home. Couldn't tell you what happened. Dawn of Batman v Superman. Saw the extended cut at home. Don't know what the fuck happened there. Nothing in the DC universe outside of like Wonder Woman sticks with me. Nothing resonates. Nothing lasts. And it has nothing to do with the fact that I tend to prefer Marvel characters over DC, because there are occasional Marvel movies that I can't really tell you what the fuck happened in them. But by and large, DC is just, we're going to put this out there because we have to, and because we're trying to mine this IP, not because they have a story they want to tell. But I mean, that's a whole other discussion for another time.
I wish I had more to add to this. Really, because I grew up more of a DC guy than a Marvel guy. And yet listening to how these movies were put together, I remember I basically said, if Robert Downey Jr. fails with Iron Man, then I'm not going to get into any of these movies. And it was spectacular. And I realized, oh my God, I'm in for life. Meanwhile, DC, when they started putting some of these together, I'm like, okay, now that they've seen how people do it, I think they can really hit it out of the, oh, damn it. I'm sorry. I can't even muster the energy to describe any of them at this point. I have always had a soft spot. I've seen every Superman movie ever made, and unfortunately, I think I can just forget about the last 10 years of Superman movie history and be better for it. So,
everything aside from the first two is forgettable.
So,
and it's sad because there are parts of Man of Steel that are good, and I have nothing against the casting. I think that's one area where they did a great job with casting. Henry Cavill. Cavill. I enjoy Henry Cavill, and I think he does as good of a job as he can with the material that he's given. And I actually enjoyed Ben Affleck as Batman Bruce Wayne.
Stop.
I'm dead serious.
I like Henry Cavill, but I prefer him as a Witcher to Superman.
No, see, I watched 2 episodes of The Witcher and I gave up. I was like, I could not give less of a shit about this show. It was so goddamn boring.
It's a weird one. That is the truest, I think, love letter to fans. It is very much so one of those ones where I think there were other people who got into it and enjoyed it for what it was. If you are into sort of medieval-esque fantasy, might and magic type deal, then you can get into it. But the people who had played the games and to a lesser extent read the books, because that's a whole big thing. I think the people who played the games really just got into it because it was so very these are the characters you love. Like there's so many times where they, remake something or either translate it to the screen, and it's like, we're gonna focus on these stories that you don't give a shit about, or the characters that you don't really care about. And I think The Witcher was really just like, no, these are the characters you know, these are the characters you love. Here. But I was gonna ask, like, for the movies, in terms of DC and Marvel, I feel like, is it that they were rushing to catch up? How long? A decade of putting movies together, longer, to get to the point where you tell the story of your big bad and everybody can play together in that story, as opposed to how long was it from when they first started making DC films in their DCEU to Justice League go?
Yeah, it was Man of Steel was 2013, and I think Justice League was like 2017, maybe.
Okay,
something like that. So 4 years.
I mean, not super fast, but not that
To be
long
fair,
either.
Iron Man was 2008, and Avengers was 2012. So also 4 years.
Well, yeah, but you can see the clear progression of, oh wow, I can't believe they're building on this. I can't wait to see what happens next. This was more like, I guess they've used all these characters. They're gonna do one like a Justice League. Okay, cool, they did. All right. Like there was, I at least in my opinion, I didn't see any anticipation for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's part of my problem. Was just I didn't see the connections between them to the point where I was like, yeah, I'm ready to see these all in a movie against something or someone. It was just kind of like, yeah, these stand apart, and now we'll throw them together.
Because Steppenwolf is really the villain. Do you want bringing this all together?
See, I think my issue that I had with them was I only remember, kind of like you said, it was, I remember what they were, not what they should have been. It's when I think Man of Steel, I don't think, hey, that was a Superman movie. I'm like, what? Where did Hobo Clark Kent come from? When I think of Suicide Squad, I'm like, wow, that was Hot Topic with guns. It was, and the Dawn of Martha was, that movie was ruined by the trailer, because I think that movie, just think of how that movie played out, think of the trailer, and then think of how that movie played out. If they had done the trailer without showing Doomsday, would that have been a better movie? To have Doomsday pop out in that at the end, I would have got excited watching that movie. Would I?
No,
liked it?
I'll tweak it. They should have kept Wonder Woman out of the trailers.
That's true.
Why is this now?
Because Wonder Woman would have been the bigger surprise. Doomsday, I think, because you need to know who they're fighting against. You need to show Doomsday because you have to give them something that brings them together. A Wonder Woman, but
they already had Lex in it, so it's like, okay, let's make this where it's going to be a Lex Superman movie. Now Batman's in the mix and he's pitting them against each other. I'm down with that. I agree. Yeah, you should have hit Wonder Woman, and instead of having that "Is she with you" line. And
I think that was a PR move.
Oh yeah,
just a PR move. We have Wonder Woman in this movie. Come watch it.
You remember?
Look how
like
woke we are.
Yeah. That was a good one, right? I can't remember who said it or when I first heard it. But the essential difference between Marvel and DC that somebody explained to me once was that Marvel stories involve people who happen to be superheroes, and DC stories revolve around heroes who also are sometimes people. And that just makes it so much easier to relate to the stories being told about Marvel characters, even though they're so similar at times. Like you can clearly see Marvel ripping shit off sometimes, and you're like, I don't care, because the story was told better. It feels better. The character is somebody that I actually like, or hate, or feel something for, because of the developments that they go through, and their actions and their words and all this other stuff. You're just like, these are real people that I can feel things for, as opposed to, oh, that's Superman. Yeah, I totally care about him. It feels that way to me, but I can't remember who said it, but it's that
Sounds
resonated.
accurate.
Like, boom, that's it.
Yeah, definitely sounds accurate.
Works for me.
And I think what really aided me, and maybe the executives over the DCEU, where let's face it, you put all those movies back to back, we were getting a more entertaining, quote unquote, better product from the CW during all of this. Yeah.
Yep.
Don't sleep on the CW.
Yeah. No,
I'm
no,
not.
no, really. That's true. Yes, absolutely.
Like, genuinely, because CW, what's their history? Because there was like a transition of that channel. Used to be,
It's Warner Brothers.
it's Warner Brothers, right? Yeah,
It used
yeah.
to be the WB.
And so, I mean, I remember watching WB shows and just kind of thinking they were cut rate everything else. And then there was a time when suddenly I was like, oh shit, their show's actually kind of dope. Like, they know what they're doing. They got good people making it.
WB had Everwood, which featured a very, very young Emily Van Camp and a pre-Parks and Rec Chris Pratt.
Oh. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They were brother and sister.
Wow.
Huh.
And Treat Williams.
I
guess he was shooting
That
that,
was
in between filming the Substitute sequels.
They're all in the same show?
All in the same show.
Okay.
It's
I might-
on what's that CW, like the web stream thing that they have.
They have one?
Yeah. CW Seed.
Seed, that's it.
Seed? That's
Yes.
not okay. I feel uncomfortable. No.
CW
no.
Seed. You can find the entirety of Everwood is on CW Seed. It's a
Mm-mm.
great show.
I need an adult on that one.
Parent, teacher, someone you trust. Huh?
Don't call your stream.
I need an adult.
Okay.
Oh, well, that's a good
Angry
segue
monkey
into
lives in my
this.
closet.
I got it. Not being in the closet, but we'll talk about no more Seed. No. So we usually try and come up with a creative way to determine the order of the draft, and this is actually inspired by a conversation that Dave and I had one day. I can't remember what we were talking about, so it makes it a great story. But we were trying to remember talking about somebody looking like somebody, I think. But anyway, he's like, yeah, like the girl that was in Fever Pitch. And so I pick up my phone and I'm like, Fever Pitch, IMDb, full cast, scroll. Who is he talking about? And he says, Drew Barrymore. And I'm like, Fever Pitch is your go-to for Drew Barrymore?
First and foremost, it wasn't Fever Pitch.
What was it?
My go-to for Drew Barrymore was Driving in Cars with Boys.
Oh,
That's even
better.
worse.
Yeah. I could, like, legitimately, we were trying to, I couldn't remember Drew Barrymore's name. So I was just like, she was the one from Driving in Cars with Boys.
Not
like,
E.T., not
No.
Charlie's Angels,
No.
not any of the umpteen movies she made with Adam Sandler. No. Your dumbass goes to Driving in Cars with Boys.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Listen,
So our
I
game
don't
that we're
know.
going to play.
I don't know.
So our game that we're going to play is we're going to go around one by one. I'm going to give you an actor or an actress. You name the first movie that pops in your head when you hear that actor or actress's name. And if you match the one that I wrote down, then you get a point.
Uh-oh. That would imply that I'm going to know any of these people in the first place.
You should know every single one of them.
All right.
My problem is I don't remember the names of movies or who's in them, which is how I end up with Drew Barrymore in Driving in Cars with Boys.
All righty.
I mean, these are all softballs.
All right, fair enough. Let's go.
So it should be good. So since it's first time on, sorry, Doc, I'm going to start with you. And this is a question that I've posed lots of times because you can judge a lot about a person based on what they pick here. Doc, when I mention this name, what's the first movie you think of? Tim Curry.
Oh my God, Clue.
All right. It's incorrect. That's what Dave would say you were correct.
100% you're correct. That's his
Are
best
you
movie.
kidding me?
That's his best movie.
I put
Easily.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
That's the other one.
No, I mean, it's good. I love
It's
Rocky
good.
Horror Picture Show, but
Yeah.
Clue all the way. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Wow.
Anthony.
Okay.
Brad Pitt.
Legends of the Fall.
Damn. Yeah. No. I went with Fight Club.
Thank you.
I don't know why I went with Legends of the Fall. I've never
Or
even
Seven.
seen it.
Or 7.
Also 7. Yeah,
Or
yeah,
7.
yeah.
Yep.
First thing that popped in my head was Burn After Reading.
Underrated. Brad Pitt is a character actor in a leading man's body.
Very true. Very true.
I think, this, I'm not saying this as like a bragging thing or whatever. I'm pretty sure I've seen every Brad Pitt movie ever made.
I'm okay with that. No problem with that.
Nothing
That's
wrong
dope.
with that.
I wish I could say the same because I love Brad Pitt.
Doc is in the business of watching Brad Pitt movies,
Oh my God.
and business is booming. All right.
Really? You
Why not? Dave, it's on you.
All right. You ready?
I'm here.
The one and only Jack Nicholson.
Ooh.
Come on.
I can't. The Shining, because I was gonna say
There,
analyze.
you got a
Yes.
I was gonna say analyze
Good
this,
job.
and then I was like, I gotta stop. Stop yourself, Dave.
Nicholson wasn't in that.
Is that not Nicholson?
No,
Which
No.
was that then?
that was Robert De Niro.
De Niro. Good thing I stopped myself then.
Because then we would have made fun of you.
Yep.
Not only would you have not got a point, we would have made fun of you, and you would have gone in the middle, regardless of the order. We would have done. All right. Go back to you, Doc. Julia Roberts.
Pretty Woman.
You get a point. That is correct. Pretty Woman. I was just curious. Everybody was going to go to the Ocean movies. Runaway
I was
Bride,
thinking,
or-
yeah, I mean, in terms of what I preferred, Ocean, but
Mystic Pizza. I worked at Blockbuster
That's
for
like
40
saying
years. so-
JFK. You know.
I was gonna go Miss Congeniality because I get her mixed up with Sandra Bullock all the time.
and again, Miss Congeniality, Sandra Bullock, not Julia Roberts.
I get her mixed up all the time. They look
Sandra Bullock is cute.
similar.
Julia
to me.
Roberts has horse teeth.
Whoa!
Oh,
Whoa!
oh boy.
Not quite as Kentucky Derby-ish as, say, Sarah Jessica Parker.
Sarah
What?
Jessica Parker looks more like a foot than a horse. So,
Oh no, Sarah Jessica Parker is horse all the way.
All right.
There's a recurring joke on our Thursday night poker games. Doc knows all about them.
Yes.
All right.
She looked okay in
No,
Hocus Pocus
With the makeup.
with the makeup, like heavily made up. In Hocus Pocus, she looked all right.
all right, Chad. Who do I get?
Tilda Swinton.
Doctor Strange.
I went with the other comic book she was in. that they said wrong the whole movie. Constantine.
Yep, I was gonna say Constantine.
I didn't know she was in that, or at least I don't remember her in it.
She played Gabrielle.
You don't remember that movie?
I saw it at Angela's house. That's enough to repress it from my brain.
All right.
Yeah. Yowza. Now, I wrote these down ahead of time, so it's funny we've come around to this. Dave, Sandra Bullock.
Miscongeniality. And I can't do anything about it.
I went with Speed.
Yeah, because that's good. That makes sense. That's reasonable. That's what a normal brain might do.
All right. So we have a tie between Doc and Dave
At 1.
at 1. And you guys are tied in first place. Anthony's here. So tiebreaker. So you each get to guess. We'll see who picks the one I picked. Kevin Costner.
Oh, Tin Cup.
I can't remember if this is right. Field of Dreams.
How about you, Anthony? You've got one?
I was going to say Field of Dreams, but since that was taken, I'll go with Dances with Wolves.
I went with Waterworld.
Damn it! Oh man, I was even thinking. You know what? This is going to be one of those. It's either going to be Postman or Waterworld.
Oh, Waterworld.
Okay,
Of course.
one more tiebreaker.
That classic.
Yeah. Okay, one more tiebreaker. Dennis Hopper.
Oh my god!
I forfeit.
You can't forfeit.
I don't know any Dennis Hopper movies. I'm sure I've seen him in
you do.
movies.
Yes, you do. Now, wait. The obvious thing is I'm stalling because I can't think of one off the top of my head. Oh my god!
Was
You just said the name. We just said the name of one about 45 seconds ago.
Field of Dreams? Waterworld.
That is correct.
There you go. Okay, he wins. That's fine.
The answer is Speed.
Or Speed.
Oh, but what I
Blue
know,
Velvet.
but I've never thought of like
Easy
him as
Rider.
like someone that I think. Okay. Because that's the thing. I'm like, he's in a ton of stuff, but I never think of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Don't
All right.
attempt to grow a brain.
All right.
All those great one-liners. All right, Dave, it is incumbent upon you to pick the order of our draft.
Because I'm a good host, my mom taught me to let the guests go first when it was time for dinner. We're going to start with Doc, and then Anthony. You get to go, Chad, and I will be going last.
Oh wow. No pressure or anything, right?
Giving yourself that hot corner.
Love being on the ends.
Ooh.
All right. So we're gonna do this serpentine style. So if you pick last in the first round, you pick first in the second round. 3 picks. We're doing the perfect Justice League, and we have rules. So we are limiting it. Say that ever. To DC Comics, as Doc pointed out. Otherwise, it would just be superheroes. We'll do that.
No,
as
I was
another
the one who
episode.
pointed that out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I would have said the same thing though, but
That's right.
I know.
But we'll do DC and their imprints. So anything under that umbrella of DC. Did get a clarification. If something went to DC and then quickly got ripped away because DC ruined it, that still counts because it was under there are covers out there with DC on it.
Fair enough.
And it may be in storage somewhere in this very domicile. There may be some issues of that. And then the Trinity is off the table. No Superman, no Batman, no Wonder Woman. Dave's not upset about that.
I'm not, Because Superman sucks. The worst character in all of comic books.
Fuck you, Dave.
Worst character in all of comic books. Change my view. It's impossible. It's boring.
Read
Not
some of
just-
the read some of the Tom King arcs that he's done, and you might change your mind.
Maybe.
Read All Star Superman.
Look, my entire basis for that is just the fact that he's just
I get it. Overpowered, everybody
Yeah,
at this
it's-
point, everybody knows it. It's run into the ground, blah, 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 blah. Got it. Understood.
Same arguments.
Yeah.
I like my favorite incarnation of Superman in anything, which honestly, to be fair, I haven't read a whole lot of Superman comics because, again, not a fan of the concept. But in Injustice, I like Superman's story in Injustice is fun. That's a interesting story. So I'll give it that. It can be done well. Just
And the last rule is no doubling up on legacy characters. So even though we've already got the Batman off the table, if you pick Bruce Wayne Batman, you can't pick one of the 687 other people that wore the cowl. So that's the rule. So with that in mind, Doc, it is time for your first pick.
All right. So since you already took Superman off the table, I am going to pick an overpowered alien that pretty much can have his rule of everything going on if he chose to. That's Martian Manhunter. Just right off the bat. I had to
don't
secure
know
One
that
of my
one.
picks, but that's okay.
had to go there, man.
Somebody was going to pick John Jones. I knew that.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the name, both John Johns and Martian Manhunter. It's a solid, that is primo naming convention, and that's one that's made to last.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a cool character. He looks cool. Every incarnation, he looks cool. Not too much in the CW. He doesn't look too cool. In the CW,
I was gonna say if we can block that from our memories.
he's a cool character in it, but
Yeah.
I mean,
it's you think the comics is the comics. CW is Party Central version of
Yeah.
it's kind of like when you see the DC characters at like Six Flags.
Uh-huh.
You go to Disney and you see the Marvel characters dressed up at Disney. They look like they walked right off the screen. And if you go to Six Flags and see any of the DC characters, they look like they walked right out of the catalog of Party City. Duct tape holding the back of the suit together. Yeah. Anywho, no, I love it. Martian Manhunter. That's a great one.
my first exposure to Martian Manhunter character was the Justice League cartoon from early 2000s, and Martian Manhunter was easily my favorite character on that show. Great voice actor, which I just had to look up because I was like, who actually was that? I love the voice. It's
Phil Lamar, right?
No, Phil Lamar was John Stewart. Sorry, Carl Lumbly, who is, what was it? He was on NYPD. No, NYPD Blue. No. He was on a couple of different cop shows, but just a fantastic voice. And they portrayed him really well in the cartoon. He's just stoic and wise and calm. But when he was when it was time to go, it was like, All right, please don't make him mad. You are going to regret it. Love the character.
All right, Anthony.
Well, I am also going to pick somebody who can be definitely perceived as OP, and who has had his tussles with at least one other member of the Trinity, and in fact is even more wholesome than the big blue Boy Scout himself, and that is Shazam, Captain Marvel, Billy Batson. I have to. I gotta go with Shazam.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna do that.
So that's my pick. I love all their interactions together, especially that great Justice League cartoon where they're battling it out because Luthor is, going after Superman and he manipulates Billy Batson, and just the fight and everything, and just so good, so good. And then you talk like Kingdom Come in the comics, and that great Alex Ross famous painting of Shazam standing there.
Yep.
So
You really need to see the movie.
I know I do.
Yeah, they do. They do such a great job just characterizing him throughout.
I've heard nothing but good things. It's just one of those movies I wanted to see in theaters, and then I couldn't get around to it because I'm pretty sure they came out after my son was born. And then I was like, well, I'll catch it on whatever. And it's probably on DC Universe or HBO Max at this point. So we'll see.
It was definitely one that I heard a lot of good reviews of. I haven't seen it myself yet, but it's the first time that I've heard enough. Well, not the first time, but one of those times when I heard enough people that I trust on these things go, you should watch it. I was like, oh, okay. Apparently this is well done.
Who directed that? I'm looking that up now.
Yeah, I don't know that one off the top.
Who made that movie? David Sandberg.
So on the topic of,
Yeah,
since you kind of mentioned, what is the, and maybe maybe I'm not giving it a fair shake, but it seems like DC has a pretty significant hard-on for like wildly powerful characters, and that's comics. Like that's you're gonna get a lot of that, but it feels like they have so many that are just
DC's characters are gods that live among humans. Marvel's characters are humans that happen to have superpowers.
going back to that. Yeah, that's true.
Well, you could even look at the style that they were written. A lot of Marvel characters, and bless Stan Lee for having the foresight, the idea that people want to see how people deal with really, really wild and wacky stuff, as opposed to DC basically saying, we want to create characters that pretty much could fix everything if we let them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a completely different mindset as to how the world works. In other words, let's see in our own heads, what do we consider to be perfection and how do we get there? And what would be those obstacles that they would have to overcome? Because they're not going to come from, they're not going to come from us. We're the ones standing in our way. Marvel is more like, nah, there's nothing else out there. There are plenty of things that may be around, but it's going to be us that fix it or make it worse. We're responsible. And yeah, we may have a lot of weird shit going on, but we're going to fix it ourselves. So just taking that idea, it's partially why you get a situation, a lot of Marvel characters are overpowered too, but you also get a movie where a character like Thor, ends up basically wallowing in his own, self-pity and anxiety and has to overcome that, never actually does get back in the gym and get in shape after having all those kegs and still manages to go toe-to-toe with Thanos. So, hey, it's just a completely different way of looking at the world.
I dig it. All right.
Marcia from the corrections department says she's checking in.
That's my mom.
Oh,
Nice.
She keeps me on track here.
She
All
also
the time.
regularly requests to see what I'm wearing below the belt. It is jeans tonight, Marcia. For Chad's sake, I will refrain from putting my butt in the camera
Again.
again.
All right. So, Martian Manhunter, you got Shazam. There's a lot of power there. A lot of power. And now Chad comes in here and fucks everything up.
Oh no.
This is one character that I have always liked. And if we're gonna do a run, and when I say the run, then you're gonna go, "Ooh, we know who it is," and Dave's still gonna be going, waiting. My favorite run of this character was Dangerous Habits. John Constantine is who I'm gonna go. I want to see him in Justice League.
Some of them be. That was literally going to be my first pick.
Wow, I didn't think you would go there that early. Damn it. Wow.
All right. Okay,
All right.
good. Yes, I did good. I did something good. Now, Dangerous Habits, by far my favorite series, I think. Wait, it was only, what, 4? Was it only a 4-issue run? I don't know. But I love that. That was just that was also my introduction to Constantine. I still can't say it right because I watch the movie like it's my job sometimes. And I liked the Keanu movie. I liked the NBC show of it. I liked that CW brought him back with the same actor. I do not like where they have taken him. He is that kind of quippy, funny. That's what I like about him is he's smart, but he's, I don't know. He's got those quips. I like the quips. I like a witty character, and they've turned him into just the comic relief, and it's pissing me off. But I do like me some old Constantine. I like him. So sounds like somebody's got views on this.
Well, I'm right there with you. I just, oh man. I'm disappointed then that he's not going to be in my team. That's all.
Yeah.
I really like John Constantine because of the fact that I am really at heart, I'm more of a fantasy nerd than sci-fi. I love some elements of sci-fi, right? Like obviously if you get into Star Wars, which is really just like sci fantasy. But I'll even go as far as Star Trek, which I really enjoy, which is pretty much hard sci-fi, like where we're trying to be. But man, you tell me that you got somebody out here who's rocking magic and divine energy, and I'm like, yes, let's do this. And then you're gonna put him in a modern setting, even better. Let's go. So that is a character that resonates with me, as it's my preferred setting. Modern fantasy is where I live. It's my wheelhouse. So damn you, Chad.
Sorry. Like what I like. All right, Dave, let's hear it. Mr.
So
DC himself.
my first pick is actually somewhere in that same realm of dudes who are way too powerful and could just solve all the problems if we just let them. But at the same time has what I consider to be a more interesting development because those problems that you would experience with being too powerful because you weren't always.
Hulk's Marvel, man.
That's fascinating to me. Like, just what would happen? Because people ask all the time, if you could have superpowers, what would you want? And somebody's just like, all of them. I would take all of them. I'm gonna find some way to say I'll take all of the powers, and you go, all right, and then you have to deal with that nonsense. Oh, there goes the camera again. I'm going with Dr. Manhattan.
And you literally just nuked the game.
Because, I mean, you're looking at something that is effectively a god, but with the limited, this weird push and pull between now having the mental capacity to like understand the power that you have and the limitations that you might need to put on yourself, and at the same time having a history, a memory of not being that, and knowing what humans and normal people, how they are going to perceive you. And so you're playing this 5D chess in your own head of how you're supposed to interact with them and how you're supposed to apply your power and how it's going to be interpreted when you do and when you don't. And if you mess up, but you're not really messing up because you know this is probably the best result, but everybody else doesn't see it that way because they can't comprehend you. That is struggle. That is interesting. And so, like, Dr. Manhattan presents this wild, just mental trip of how would you deal with that, and can you even comprehend dealing with that? That's a wild character. I love Dr. Manhattan.
Have you guys done a Dr. Manhattan episode?
No, we haven't. It's definitely one of. Yeah, we. If you're gonna bring up Watchmen, yeah, we did Rorschach. I mean, Manhattan is on the list. As a matter of fact, I don't remember where on our capes, was it in the fans group or on our page itself, where someone brought up that type of question, who's the most OP, and that was my choice. I said it's definitely Manhattan for that exact reason. I don't know many characters that just casually in a book, talked about how life is so, so unique and so wonderful. Maybe I'll go create some.
Yeah.
True. All right, so we're back to Dave then for.
Oh shit.
Every single time.
Okay.
He's like, I hate doing one pick, being in the middle. And then he's like,
well, you got
two picks. It's like, God damn it.
When we do this one-on-one, it's still one pick. And when we have three people on, you usually stick me in the middle. So I'm used to my one pick. I've resigned myself to that fate. All right. If we're going to then, I'm going to, I don't know if I'll start a new trend here, but I'm certainly going to go almost 100% in the opposite direction. And I'm going on the low end of the spectrum. It's somebody that I want to see, not because they have all the power in the world, but because they have effectively none, maybe more intensely trained than the average human, probably smarter than the average human and all that, but like nothing crazy going on, mystical or scientifically advanced. I'm going with Alfred.
No, I think I get this, but go ahead. Oh my God.
So
the fuck? DAFUQ. The fuck?
Alfred, listen.
No, Dave, I feel you, man. I feel you. I'm not gonna lie. Was not gonna be any of my picks, but I have a feeling. But go ahead.
So you're going to have this. You have the Justice League, right? And it's this group of inhuman, human, powerful variances in their power. It's like this is the worst group of like foster children tossed together from all different kinds of situations that you could ever have. And you are going to need someone who can hold them together. Without Batman, who is in and of himself fairly emotionally intelligent, I should think, in terms of being able to handle other people, maybe not his own shit, but in terms of other people. And where does that come from for him? It comes from Alfred. He's raised by this individual who's so capable of dealing with this child who is traumatized, who grows into a man who's still traumatized, and manages to be this caretaker, this father figure who understands him and raises other Batmen in the same way, provides this emotional support for so many of them. And the Justice League needs that. They need someone to a shoulder to cry on. They need someone to provide them hard truth when they need it. They need someone to provide absolute, just like this unshakable moral compass. And even when he's probably conflicted himself, he's going to provide enough in the way of guidance that you can make your own goddamn decision. And if you don't, I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do, but I'm going to help you figure out what you need to do for you. That's what Alfred's going to provide on top of just taking care of stuff. Like we need somebody to take care of our space and run things while we're gone. All right. You can't just leave the base open. Alfred can make sure that you're taken care of, right? Like, so Justice League Hall, taken care of, people taken care of. He can take care of himself. He's trained. He's not like just a pushover either by himself. There's a lot that he brings to the table that's not, let me go fight the big bad.
Dave, what you've just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things.
Okay, yeah, I knew you were gonna. I had a feeling you were gonna.
At no point in your
movie.
rambling
Okay.
and coherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points. And may whatever deity you choose to believe in have mercy on whatever is left of your poor, pathetic soul.
All I hear is hating. All I hear is a hater.
Hold on. Is that Billy Madison?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
With a little, I tweaked it at the end.
I know.
Yes.
I know you did.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were waiting so long to say that. I'm like, oh my God, he's got it queued up. So, this is how well I know this guy. I guarantee. But no, Dave, seriously, I feel you on this because you pick the character that can get shit done, in any way possible, and then someone to rein it in.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be very curious to see how it ends on your side, but yeah, I definitely can understand that pick. I wouldn't do that in a million years, but yeah, I get it.
Well, to be fair, Alfred was going to be my third pick after I had Constantine.
Uh-huh.
So he was going to provide some help there, but I didn't get him, so I figured let's cue Alfred up now and take it.
All right.
You were saving Alfred for your closer.
Yes, he was going to be my closer, but that's okay. I'm going to figure out where I go next. I'm going to play a little jazz.
That was going to be your jigsaw pick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you got somebody cleaning up the Hall of Justice. That's good. Somebody's got to clean up Gleek's shit, I guess. I don't know. I went there. Sorry to name pick. Sorry. If somebody was going to pick Gleek. We got Alfred on the team, so now, anything's possible. All right, this one I took a few liberties to get, but it does fall under the realm. So it's of all of the characters in the whole, canon of this particular, 10 of 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 series, I guess, is the one that always stood out to me and was my personal favorite. I'm going to go with Judge Cassandra Anderson. So Judge Anderson, not Judge Dredd, but Judge Anderson, the psychic, who's worse than how cool could it be to have a law enforcement person that can read minds, and she is the one of the few of the judges that has a human side to her. She's funny. She makes friends with the judges, but on the same side of it, she's not afraid to use lethal force against men, women, and children if they are lawbreakers. Her debut was going up against Judge Death and the Dark Judges, so that was badass. She got possessed and voluntarily froze herself in, Boing, if you're really a nerd like me and love those comics, sealed herself in rubber, basically, so she could keep this demon, whatever Judge Death is, and keep him there. And she's one of my favorite characters because on top of being a badass, on top of being a psychic and all the crazy stuff that goes with that, she does have a human side. And I do like when you get to see badasses in comics that actually have a human side to them. And it's not just, all punchy, kicky. So yeah, Judge Anderson.
All right.
Crickets. Okay, great.
Hey, man. I'm thinking.
Crickets. Great. Thanks. All right.
I'll be honest. My silence just has to do with the idea that I have to really think and hope that someone doesn't steal one of mine, because I have a certain order I want to do these, and I think I'm going to get away with it, which is shocking to me.
Fair enough.
Well, you as long as Anthony doesn't take one, you got it, because you get 2 picks. So
That's
you get
true.
to close it out next. All right, Anthony, let's have it.
Well, see, I have 2 picks that are like my priorities, but based on Doc saying that now he's worried that I'm going to steal it.
I wasn't worried about you.
What?
Oh, you heard me. I wasn't worried about you.
Okay. Well, no, because I think I want to try and fuck with you, though. Because I think, because this one was going to be one of my picks anyway, but I was going to save it for number 3. But I think if my head is in the right spot, and there's no guarantee it is, but if my head is in the right spot, and knowing you as well as I do, I think you may have had this particular character on the team. And see, it's funny because Dave was saying, oh, he wants somebody with no powers, and he wants, you need like a human there. You also need somebody who wants to ensure that the league is always doing what's right.
You freaking jerk. You didn't.
I may be getting close. Because I'm starting to worry him now. You need somebody who wants to hold them accountable and ensure that they're doing what's right. And the only way you can do that is by asking questions. I want the question on the team.
That's rude. That's just rude. I'm just putting that out there. That's so messed up.
All right. Good thing I have backups upon backups.
Do I know my best friend, or do I know my best friend?
What a move.
What would be your way of I want to hear your reasoning. I know my reasoning. What's your reasoning? I know you just said it, but like, how does that integrate then with the fact that you pick someone like Shazam?
I think it balances itself out perfectly. Listen, I'm looking at the team as a whole. Okay. You need somebody, including everybody else's picks.
Okay.
You need that human side. And, you need somebody who's going to be that counterbalance to somebody like Shazam, who's going to say, what is the reason behind all this, and figure out some of the shit, because Billy's just so like, well, gee whiz. You need somebody who's not going to be so gee whiz, and who's somebody who's going to get dirty on that. And that's where Vic comes in. Charles, so that's where Vic Sage comes in. So the question, and again, he was going to be my number 3 pick, but as soon as you started saying like, oh, I'm not worried about you. Ha, motherfucker.
Don't worry.
Damn.
Don't worry. I still got something for you. I still got something for you. You ain't gotta worry about that.
I just appreciate the absolute disrespect of just being like, I know what you're gonna pick, and I'm gonna take it because I can.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come over to your house.
Now, so you took my number 3. You took my number 3. But that doesn't mean that I still can't get done what I need to get done on a team like this. So I agree with you that you need a human. And I do think you need someone that can really get where they need to go, really infiltrate things. They're not a human in the sense that we think they're human, but definitely can understand anything that humanity has gone through, because he still has to work his own stuff out. Definitely has seen a lot of things that can handle pretty much the end of existence if necessary, when you have the type of family or step family that he had. Yeah, we've done this character before on our podcast. Someone that I really love, at least the way he's written, can really relate to just about anybody, and has shown that he can be as tough as nails and as soft as, smooth as silk, soft as cotton. Mr. Miracle. Absolutely love that character. And I think when you combine that so far with what I said, someone like Martian Manhunter, who's definitely, cool as the other side of the pillow, but definitely overpowered. Like, I think you got a nice 1-2 punch there. So from that standpoint, that's why I'm going with him. I'm sorry that the question can't be there to totally just get into I like to call this the mindfuck team. I can't, I don't have him, so I can't go there. But so that's my number 2. Now I don't know if you guys want to talk about that one, or if you want me to just roll into my number 3 or what.
I'm interested in seeing the whole package together before I really dive down into what we got here. So
okay, all right, fair enough. But what I've talked about so far, I definitely have. I mentioned some. I think, like I said, a good 1-2 punch. I would have preferred to go. I wanted someone, and the reason I would have picked Question wasn't just because of what he does, but also because I think there is a level of instability there. And I think if you want a team, you don't want a team that's totally predictable. Okay, I'm not trying to build that type of team. I want a team that does have a bit of a wild card to it. And if I want that,
Dave loves wild cards.
Well,
wild card, bitches.
You knew I was thinking, like, who's going to cut the brakes on all of this? Well, he won't he won't cut the brakes on a car. Now if you get him on, on a nice hog, if you ride that through the galaxy, and if you want, you want to talk OP as well. See, that's the thing. I'm like, let's bring the power to this bitch. Let's go ahead and, if we're gonna go all out, we're gonna go all out
with the main man.
That's right. Gotta go with Lobo. And my thought is, you have the absolute just wild side with that. You've got this well manicured mind of Martian Manhunter, and in between you have someone that's going to figure out, no matter what type of situation they're in, that they're going to be able to escape even when the chips are down. They have experience throughout the universe. They can still relate to the human condition. I think you've got the type of team that's going to handle most situations no matter what. So that's how I'm putting that all together.
And him and Constantine are going to get together great. They're going to get along just great. They're gonna be like BFFs.
I like the dynamic. Now, Anthony, you ruined it because I would have liked the question in that grouping. That would have been better. But I like the dynamic that you built there. That's I approve. That's all
You
I'm
stole
gonna
him
say.
from
I
me.
approve.
You stole him from me. So
Oh,
yeah.
all right. Where are we at,
I think it's on me now for my number
Yeah,
3.
yeah.
Uncle Tony?
So,
Uncle Tony in the house.
but you don't know nothing about this. Sit down, boy. Let me talk to you about the Justice League. You know nothing about Justice League.
You don't know nothing about justice.
So the last one, I had a couple of thoughts about which version of this legacy character that I wanted to go with, and I wasn't sure if anyone was going to take this particular character, or any of the many characters that have worn the power ring of the Green Lantern Corps. Dave is very upset with me now. Dave is cursing me once again. But I feel like we need that power set in the team. We need somebody with some imagination. We need a little bit of diversity in the team as well. Because we've got, aside from Wonder Woman and Justice Anderson, I believe we've picked all men so far. And so that's why I'm going with Jessica Cruz
Okay.
as a Green Lantern.
Wow. Wow.
Jessica Cruz she's certainly a newer character. But I like her, just her backstory. I like that she is a survivor, and she definitely has that mindset that she brings to the ring. And so I feel that she has that mindset already, and then you give her that power set and she could do a lot of good with it, but also isn't afraid to use it to fuck some shit up if it's going to get the team out of trouble. And I like the potential for some, I don't want to say conflict, but maybe just a little bit of friction there with Billy, because Billy is going to be all, again, gee whiz, and Jessica is more heroic and less paranoid than the Question, but also isn't afraid to get her hands dirty. So I think that the two of them would offset Captain Marvel, Shazam. And I'm dating myself because I still kind of think of him mentally as Captain Marvel. So I think that she would be a good pick for the team. And like I said, we get another woman on the team. So that's my number 3 pick.
I am mildly upset.
You were going to take Jon Stewart, weren't you?
I was.
He would have been my number. He would have been my second Green Lantern pick, for what it's worth.
Yeah. So before you guys laid down the rules as they stood, I was contemplating, if nobody had the guts to do it, I was going to try and create an all Green Lantern team.
Oh, that would have been a good one. That would have been a very good one.
So John, Hal, and Guy, then, right?
Yep, you got it. Even though I can't stand Guy. Fuck him. I can't stand him. But whatever. But that would have been my 3. You know it.
Every team needs an asshole.
Exactly. Like I said, you need that mix.
Okay.
All right. So
I lost Lobo. God damn it. All right. So mine is I don't have a lot to say about this one. I will go as far as saying I got nothing to say about this one, but I can talk to you all about it, all about the writer of this one. We can talk for days about the writer of this one. So we'll just throw it right down. My last pick, I'm going with Dream from the Sandman.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right.
Dream, Morpheus, whatever you want to say. Dream. That's what I'm going with. I'm a big Neil Gaiman fan, and
Can't go wrong with that.
Yep.
no. So
Dream.
Respect.
I think wasn't there a crossover with Dream? Okay, everybody sees Dream how they need to see Dream when they physically see Dream, and wasn't there one where it was like, sorry if this is your pick, Ghost Rider saw him and it was like just a big flaming skull, which was like such a off of what Sandman is and how it's done and how it's drawn, but I don't know. But yeah, I think it was.
I definitely agree that I could probably talk about Neil Gaiman all day. He's definitely one of my favorite authors. I read American Gods too young. When did that come out? I don't think it was when it first released, but let's find out real quick.
I'll tell you this about American Gods. American Gods, I'm not a big novel reader. American Gods is probably one of like 3 books that I've read, and I have read it multiple times. And I've listened to every iteration of the audiobook of it. I hate the 10-year anniversary version of it because it's like the preferred text, and it's the Snyder cut of it. They added 12,000 words to it, and I'm like, no, the first version was the best.
It was released in June of 2001, and I can't think. I don't think I've read it much later than 2002. I was like 14 years old, and that book just threw me for a loop. I'm pretty sure that I picked it up at a rest stop on the way back from Boston, because we used to go to, like, I was in Boston a lot as a kid. My grandmother was up there. We would visit all the time. I lived up there for a little bit, and we would drive. So we would either drive the trip, or we would run up to Wilmington and take the train. And I remember picking that up at a rest stop, and I just was immersed in it the entire trip, and then didn't put it down until it was done. And it was a little transformative for me. I read a lot as a kid. Like, it was just a thing. We didn't have TV really, so, and the library was my babysitter some days, so I read a lot as a kid. And then I read that book, and I became enamored of, I think that's probably the thing that made me so enamored of modern fantasy. The idea of the fantastic, of magic, of the divine that still lives today. And that idea of it being hidden because, well, people in the modern day don't care about that. They don't believe in it. And so that's a problem for those that need that belief, that rely on that. That was so cool to me. And then, then flash forward to, what was it? Amazon made the series of it recently.
The horrible series of it. Yeah.
With Terry Pratchett.
Good Omens.
Good Omens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Love that book. It's got a poem / short book instructions, which I've used when I was a teacher. I used that all the time. It's just a like Tolkien-esque, here are the instructions for when you leave your house and you find yourself in the magical fantasy land after beyond the fence, and here's how you get back. And it's fantastic. He's a great writer, and I've not checked out his writing for Dream, but I'll have to check that out, because respect the hell out of everything he puts out.
Yeah. All right, Dave, wrap it up.
So before I do, I have one question, and that's: did we put a rule on that our Justice League members had to be heroes?
No.
Because, and this is going to be one where I think I'll probably need some backup or some explanation for why it doesn't belong. I'll give you my reasoning for why I put it there, and then you can tell me if that reasoning makes any sense or if it's flawed by the standards of canon. So, and this one was one that I picked up as I was like making some changes, because I had my original 3, and then one was taken, and then the one that I replaced it with, it kind of wasn't feeling it that much. And then I thought to myself, okay, so my contributions so far have been 2 wild ends of the spectrum in terms of their mentality and their capability. And so I wanted something sort of in the middle. And then I thought, what constitutes the most, not the most middle, but something that qualifies as middle. And so I thought about something that's like neutral in the most classic of senses. And I don't know if this works, because again, it might not, but my reading of the character is such, and I wanted to add the Joker.
I had a feeling that's what you were hinting at, and I think there's enough with the way he was used with Suicide Squad that you had at least an opportunity to say that it's on the hero spectrum. Look, I don't know what the other two think. You're gonna get as close to an ally on this as you're gonna get with me. No, because the Joker is one of my favorite characters ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I respect the hustle. I respect the hustle. I'm just like
So a couple of reasons for it. 1, it presents a challenge for Alfred. And 2, I want to see the interactions between the Joker and Dr. Manhattan.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump right in. Because there actually was a brief run of Joker in his own system, and it's when he steals the powers of Mr. Mixus Pitlick, that impish guy from whatever dimension and all of that. Steals all of his powers, becomes Emperor Joker. Some great stuff, funny stuff. Superman has to hug hug a yellow sun just to stay alive because Joker removes all of his organs. He has Batman die over and over again repeatedly, all this other stuff. But if you're pointing out how would Joker interact with like this supreme being that it basically he try and find a way to manipulate it so that as much damage is done as much as possible. That's really my thought of the matter.
So I see that as the core of why this works, because this is an individual who is, by all accounts, wildly intelligent, right? And able to either able to use that intelligence or controlled by his own whatever's going on, uses that intelligence mostly in destructive ways, but destructive ways that amuse him. And so then in meeting up with this other individual who's just wildly powerful and also like intelligent in a way that humanity can't reach, they're going to be their interactions. I feel like the Joker is going to be attempting everything, like you said, to cause destruction and manipulate this situation. And I feel like Dr. Manhattan knows that. And knows that in a way that not like a regular human would be like, okay, how do I turn this to my advantage? And then they get outsmarted because the Joker's just like, we're on completely different levels. We're on completely different understandings of how the world operates. Whereas Dr. Manhattan might be able to conceptualize that in a way that the Joker can't overcome. And so he's essentially manipulated into doing the thing that needs to be done while still thinking he's doing the thing that is going to be the most amusing to him. And that dynamic.
Wow.
So yeah, Joker, if I can get away with it.
It's not my podcast, so
I mean, of all of the villains, the Joker's probably the last one I would pick as being an anti-hero. Now, you know, killing Joker wouldn't work. Everything pre-killing Joker wouldn't work. Animated series Joker wouldn't work. Hot topic Joker might work. I think the only version of the Joker that would work in this scenario is Joaquin Phoenix Joker. Because I think he's just, because that's the Joker that is just broken.
yeah.
And I think surrounded by the right people, they could keep him from going, starting the arc that everybody knows of the Joker.
Yeah.
If we wrote comics. But I do think it could work because comics.
And also we need side plots here, right? Like the big bad and that main throughput is important, but we also have to have extra tension. And there's already plenty to be had. But this is an intriguing one where you're like, how the fuck are they going to justify this? And then you get to the end of it and it's well done and you're like, oh shit, okay. I'm on board. Damn. Okay.
Well, I'm not denying that it wouldn't make for some amazing potential storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to admit, I can't. I'll just be blunt. It's hard for me to envision anything besides entropy taking over and like just a complete dissolution of the fabric of existence.
But that's the thing. That's it, right? That's the end of this arc. Because the end of this arc is both Dr. Manhattan and the Joker get what they want. Dr. Manhattan gets the Joker to solve the problem that needs solving. But also, perhaps the universe ends sooner than it should have. And is Dr. Manhattan concerned about that? Not really. So, or maybe the Joker really does outsmart Dr. Manhattan and you're just sitting here like,
All right, Anthony, let's hear it. You've been biting your tongue this whole time.
you go back into that. Listen, you go back into that Billy Madison. We're going to have problems, sir.
He never uses the same quote twice. So
There we
don't
go.
have to
All
worry
right.
about that.
All right.
I have to say, obviously, as evidenced by my facial expression, when you first announced the pick, I was like, okay. Dave must have gotten in Uncle Tony's stash and
I've been drinking.
had a few with him. But then you described the interaction, and then you described the whole thing with him and Dr. Manhattan. And at the end of it, I thought it wouldn't have been my first choice, wouldn't have been my second choice, wouldn't have been my 712th choice. But the way you described it, I kind of want to see that story now.
And he dropped the mic. He's done for the night.
I'll take it.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Okay, so let's recap.
Because I think it's that
this.
nihilism. It's that, Dr. Manhattan is like, life has no meaning. And Joker's like, of course not, unless it's a lie. That's the joke for him. The joke is ending the world. And Dr. Manhattan's like, man, I don't give a fuck. Okay, sure. Let's try it. Snap.
All right.
Wow.
So there you
Some
have it.
people just want to watch the world burn, right?
And some people can make it happen.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's recap this and let's take a look at the new Justice League, the 12-person Justice League. And then I want to hear you guys just from your expert opinions, professionally and as geeks. What's the dynamic that's going to happen with this? So here's the team. We've got Martian Manhunter, Mr. Miracle, Lobo, Shazam, The Question, Green Lantern, Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern, Constantine, Judge Anderson, Dream, Dr. Manhattan, Alfred. I just have to sit on that one for a minute. And the Joker as the new Justice League. Snyder Cut be damned. Now, I think Judge Anderson and the Joker would be fun because she can read his mind. He's not ready for that.
Yo.
I can't think of a story with the Joker where somebody could read his mind and they can anticipate what he's going to do, but somebody that can just actually be in his head and anyway.
Is that the direction you go though? Because I mean, I could see that direction where he's got to deal with her because she can read his mind, and that's just not the space he's used to being in. There's also the direction you go where she can read his mind, but she just doesn't because she can't handle that.
Yes. I mentioned this with Anthony earlier today, but have you guys read the Gotham?
Was that you were breaking up a little bit?
It was I'm sorry, Vendetta in Gotham. It was the Judge Dredd Batman crossover graphic novel they did.
That was, I mean, I literally like glossed over it. I can't pretend to say I read the whole thing.
They had a really cool so it was I want to say it was Alan Grant, but Simon Beasley did the art for it. So if you know his style, it's awesome. They had the coolest thing in there though, because the villain in it was Scarecrow. And Scarecrow Scarecrow hits Batman with his little fear gas. They've got a full page like splash page of Batman surrounded by all of his fears. It's got his parents, it's got Robin, it's got just all of his entire canon at that point just surrounding him as he's just having this nervous breakdown. And then 5-6 pages later, Judge Dredd shoots one of the canisters of this fear gas and it goes in the face of Judge Death. And his splash page is like teddy bears, unicorns, rainbows. And it's just this bright colored, just lovely art, but just that, what you said about, does she want to go into the Joker's mind? It's like, that's kind of what that reminded me of, was that scene there, or that page there. It was a great page. I think a more interesting dynamic in this is Lobo and the Joker. That's
Amen. That's all I was thinking this entire time.
That's going to be scary.
Look, the bottom line is everybody has that wacky ass cousin that you know better. You know better. Just don't mess with them. And yet someone else who's not quite there, but still has sense. You could talk to them a little bit and they decide they're going to poke the bear. And that's the dynamic that I think we would see there. And I'm just, just kind of picturing like, yo, I bet you can't destroy that planet. I You know, like I like just like daring each other, like, you know, like not to mention just the bickering back and forth, and like, oh my god, that's really what I was thinking. Like I love that idea of these two just absolute insane, like the I don't even know if you want to call it a power trip, a psycho trip, just. If we somehow got them to drop acid, that's the only thing that would make it better for me.
Oh, no.
Hey,
Oh my. Like I don't. Oh.
seriously, I think because my point is, you really want to talk. I know you mentioned with Manhattan and the Joker. Like I'm saying, if you really want to test the boundaries of reality, I think those two would do it. I really do.
Dropping tabs with Lobo and the Joker.
I wouldn't feel safe. That'd be my whole problem. I'd be like, yeah, I want to watch, but I don't want to be experiencing. I'm never going to have a safe moment. It's going to be a bad trip. No security there. None.
I feel bad for Alfred in this whole thing.
Alfred will be fine. Okay. Alfred will be fine. He's seen some shit.
He's got to clean that mess up.
Oh, well, yeah, there's that part.
But remember, if you need someone to get out of shit, that's the point. That's why I include someone like Mr. Miracle. I'm saying you need people to think outside of the box because you already. What I like about so far, just about like everything as a whole, is just the spectrum that we're seeing with this. Seriously, you know, like you've got like the most, you know, rigid versus the most chaotic crap. Love it.
Makes for good television.
True.
All right.
So that will do it for this week's episode. Anthony, Doc, thanks for coming by. We appreciate you being here.
Anytime.
It was fun. It was nice. It was a fun time. So we'll bring you back at some point and do the Legion of Doom.
Ooh.
Hell yeah. It's going to be fucked up because now we can't use Joker.
Why not? If any character can be on both simultaneously.
Okay, so we'll put it right out. We'll put it out there right now, Dave. You can't take Superman for the Legion of Doom.
What? Eat a dick. No.
You cannot take Injustice Superman. You cannot take the Superman from the original movies where he, you know, was all bad for a while. Okay.
You can't take Red Sun Superman.
Correct.
This is horse shit. I feel targeted. All right, whatever. I'll come up with something.
You can't take what's it? The Earth 3, the Mirror Universe.
Right.
Listen, just you're gonna have to tell me I can't take any of the alternate Earth Supermans because I'll get into it. I'll find one.
You can't take Superboy Prime. Nope. Can't do it.
Y'all just being mean at this point.
I'm kidding.
Bullying.
Prime definitely counts as a villain, so whatever. Don't worry.
There we go. Oh boy.
All right. So this episode's going to be coming out next week. What do you guys you drop on Wednesdays? So what are you going to have?
Next week we're going to have an interview with Erica Schultz.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Nice. Capes on the Couch .live at Capes on the Couch across all social media.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Capes on the Couch at Gmail.
At Gmail. Capes on the Couch at Gmail. Awesome. So check them out. It's a good time. It's so much more serious than what we just did.
It's on the episode. It
can be.
Because unfortunately, once in a while, because I don't know if anybody on your show knows this, like I actually am a doctor. You wouldn't tell from this conversation, but yeah. So once in a while, I have to use that to make it sound like I know what I'm talking about.
He is a board certified psychiatrist, and yes, we do get deep into the shit on a couple of episodes.
Oof. Yeah, it's intense sometimes. I started binging and I was like, whoa, okay. All right.
Yeah, we've got to actually somebody new in our Discord is going through chronologically and catching up on all of the stuff. So
It's good listening though. It is.
well, thank you. So is
I've
yours.
really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's entertaining and educational. Ours is here.
We're idiots.
This is a podcast.
Yeah.
Yes, we are a podcast. When they ask us, what's your what's your niche? What's your target demographic? I'm like, we made the podcast that we wanted to hear. That's our target audience.
And
me and Dave.
That's the best. That's always the best.
What do you think Doc and I do?
Yep.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
So there you go. But we're gonna put on our big boy pants next week on this silly little show. We will have, and this is gonna get cut out if it falls through. We're gonna have from Magic hello from the Magic Tavern and Hey Riddle Riddle. Mr. Adel Rafai is going to be on, somebody that dips into two of the podcast networks, Earwolf and Headgum. So I'm going to give him shit about that. But he's going to be on. We're going to be talking conspiracy theories. So that's going to be a fun one.
Nice.
That's it for this week. Dave, do you have anything to send us out into the world with?
Really just in the spirit of today's episode, just a reminder to folks, comic books aren't dead, man. They are alive and well. There are great stories being told in the tradition of, like, you want to talk about diving deep and trying to understand and put a or not always positive, trying to put a face to issues of all kinds. Read a comic book. You'll learn something about the world that you live in places that you don't currently occupy. And you'll see some really cool perspectives. So pick up a comic book, find something that's recommended. If you don't know where to start, listen to Capes on the Couch, and they can give you some entry points of maybe something you find interesting. But yeah, pick up a comic book. They're still fun, and they're also really educational.
Anthony, Doc, do you have any recommended reading based on the conversations that we've had this evening?
Nah, man, nothing that comes to mind would work with for this team.
Although, wait, hold on. I mean, if we're gonna say we've been talking about DC characters with what we do, if you really want at least a glimpse into the idea that, hey, they actually can have personalities and it actually messes them up sometimes, the whole Heroes in Crisis series. That's the way I would introduce somebody. The idea that Superman talks about the idea that heroes have nightmares. Okay, that's real.
Fair point.
So yeah, that's one recommendation I would give.
Awesome. All right. That is it for this week. And until next time, if there is a next time, we'll talk to you then.
Deuces.